Hi guys, this is the St. Andrews Christian. Today is Sunday, 3rd March. So, Mtumishi. Mtumishi. So, we are doing today's exposition, being led to us by His Excellency Tembo.
Hi guys. So today we're going to have a word from the book of Psalm 6. And the title is A Prayer of Faith in Time of Distress. The chief musician with stringed instruments on an 8-stringed harp, a psalm of David. O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger, nor chasten me in your hot displeasure. Have mercy on me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me, for my bones are troubled. My soul also is greatly troubled. But you, O Lord, how long? Return, O Lord, deliver me. Oh, save me for your mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of you. In the grave who will give you thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All night I make my bed swim. I drench my couch with my tears. My eye wastes away because of grief, grows all because of all my enemies. Depart from me, all you workers of iniquity. For the Lord has heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord has heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all my enemies be ashamed and greatly troubled. Let them turn back and be ashamed suddenly. This chapter, it shows, it just explains the sense where we cannot do without God, and without Him, like when we are in trouble, it's really hard for us. We really go through hard times without recognizing God's presence. But it also shows that when we recognize that we have God, and when we turn from our iniquities and cry to God, He'll come and rescue us. He'll hear our prayer and come and save us from trouble. Yeah, and it also says that God Himself will deliver us and ashame the ones who trouble us. They'll be ashamed when they see God raising us from our situations.
For me, I think verse 4 is something that really struck me, and it says, "Turn, Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love." Then he proceeds to say in verse 5, "Among the dead, no one proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave?" And I imagine David at this time, who's the person, the author of this psalm, was going through anguish because his sons were chasing him. They wanted to kill him, and he felt that the battle that was before him was too great. And like him, when he was anointed and Saul was a king, he never tried to kill Saul, yet he had many opportunities. There's even a situation where he even cut Saul's gown and said, I could have done it, but because you were anointed, I cannot touch you. But his sons don't see the same thing. And you say, God, this is so unfair, These guys are trying to kill me. But he asks for favor from God, not because of who he is, but because of God's love. And I find that so profound. It's God's love. That's your justification. Because he loves you, he needs to save you. And that is the desire of my heart. God, I am full of sin. But don't look at that sin. But you love me. Save me from my situation. And I think that should always be a point of focus when we are praying, when we are in times of trouble, as opposed to telling the Lord, oh, this has happened. Tell him, your love justifies why I should ask that you should save me. I think that is so profound to me.
This one I'm carrying it from Psalms 5. I don't know why he's in a lot of pain. Nika anatetea Mungu all the time. Oh, the wicked. All night long, I'm worn out from my groaning. All night long, I flood my bed with weeping and drenched my couch with tears. This is verse 6, coming from verse 5. Among the dead, none proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave? Yani, Nikayo anatetea Mungu. He's expecting everyone to know who this God is. Like in his heart is burning. Why don't you guys know God? Eh? Nika, he knows God can turn stones to praise him, but he's expecting there's a way he can just speak a word, everyone will just be going down to him. Okay, sometimes it's not upon us, but there are those of us who carry that burden. But let us use love to change the narrative. Like there's a prayer even said in chapter 5. That prayer alone can change you as an individual. You know, guys out there don't like dictatorship. You are repeat that error. You are people who like when people come and approach. Even nowadays campaigns, nitakupatia hii. Wewe ni mkubwa. Yani you're given that authority that you're the one with the decision. But ukija ati usipo nita, you will see what will happen, right? So let us practice love. Let us try love, and also the mama says I'm supporting you. Let's come to God in that way.
Check would be on the personality of David. I love how David is real when it comes to, he knows himself, he knows his values, he knows when he's wrong, and like he knows himself. Most of us, I feel like when we think of God, we think of him first. Like how most of us approach prayer is that we think of God first. We don't see that there's actually God looking at you, and there's this on this other end, there's you approaching God. Like there are two people here, and each of these personalities are different. Like God is holy and is perfect, but there's this other person here who is not perfect and is seeking perfection to God. So I really admire how David approached that. David knew himself when he was coming before God, and I think he's my, how would I say, champion. Like this guy I look up to in the Bible, because David was never had no limits when it came to him. Like he was many things in one. Like I don't know, I look up to David because of his all-roundedness, but more importantly, I look up to him on how real he was before God. And from verse 1, I think I take a lot on verse 1 from this and Psalm 6. Oh Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure, that is. So, I love the imagery David has created, the poetic David that he is. He is like a child who's done wrong, but still loves the father, like loves his father. He really loves his father, and he doesn't want to do wrong in as much as he's done the wrong. He really doesn't want to do that wrong. So he doesn't want to see the father coming to rebuke him with anger. Like I don't, me too, I wouldn't love such. In as much as like sikutaka kufanya makosa, but nilifanya. Watu baba ndio amekuja, wewe ni mjinga, wewe ni, like he's so angry and pouring all that anger on me. But deep within me, hey God, I've been seeking you and all that. Like I love the kind of imagery David creates in his psalms. Like he's so real. Like how he says, I'm weary with my groaning all the night. Make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Like David is so real, and my prayer would be that I'd be so real before God. Like I'm not praying for okay, when I'm praying for myself, it's not like I'm praying for Kenya, so naomba nikuwe tu na amani, naomba nikuwe sijui na nini, naomba pesa, like what's me, like what's my problem as a person? Like that is what I'm praying before God. Yeah, God, you've been seeing my cry, you've been seeing me struggling with this and this. This is me, God. Like please just sort me, because it's me and God. Like, and as much as we need corporate prayers, I love how David actually boasted of his God, not really boasted, but knew his problems and knew how to bring his problems to God. I really admire that as well.
I'm going to change the view of how I'm seeing this scripture. Now, it begins with, Lord, do not rebuke me in anger or discipline me in your wrath. I'm trying to think of it as when we have sinned. It's a whole different perspective. When we have sinned, we tend to take, some of us, or I don't know, sometimes we tend to take sin casually. But here is David, he's saying, the context may be different, but I'm trying to think of it as a whole different way. So he's saying, Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your wrath. As much as we know the Lord is merciful and He's loving and His love is unfailing and all that, I believe and I think there's a fear in David that he says, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your wrath. Then he goes on to cry, I am worn out from groaning in my bed. All night long I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. I feel like he's burdened. If it was a different context, he'll be burdened by the sin, whatever he has done. It is making him cry, oh Lord, I feel so much guilt. So I feel like from the example of David, we shouldn't take sin so casually. Like we sin and say, so the Lord is merciful. Here we see that the Lord has an anger and a wrath. And we say the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So yeah, that is my take on this verse.
There is this song that goes, in Him do I live and have all my being, because I'm nothing without Him. I feel like there is, in one way or the other, it connects to the chapter that we read. We're nothing without God, and like He's the one He's the comforter. When we are in distress, like He's our comforter. When we have sinned, He sees beyond that sin and comforts us, and He's just there. I was listening to a sermon by Pastor Vlad, and he was saying, no matter how much we sin, God shows His mercy upon us. He is loving. It's like a parent and a child. You know, when you're a child, you used to stumble so many times when you're learning to walk, and there's never a time that your parents said, this child will never walk because he's fell 10 times. They never said this child is not meant to walk for the rest of his life, but they're always there. No matter how many scars you had on your knees and all over, they still hoped that one day you're going to walk. And he also said that you, right now, you fell so many times in 10 minutes when you were a child, more than when you're an adult for 10 years. So it shows that, now it's an example, it's like metaphorically speaking, it's like God and us. We are His children. And no matter how much we sin and no matter how much we're in distress, He still sees us as His children and He loves us. There's this scripture that says, the wicked stumbles and falls, but the righteous falls 7 times. So we are all prone to sin because we're not righteous. We are born out of sin. But if you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you're righteous, but you're not immune to sin. That's why it says the righteous fall 7 times. See, even if you sin, you should be at a place where you cry to God and request Him to forgive you and take you out of the mess that you're in or the sin that you've fallen into. But it's so hard for a wicked person to come out of their sin, you know. And that's why, like, you fall 7 times over and over again. So, but God is there to like lift you every time you fall. So that's it for today's exposition. Make sure you subscribe and keep up with us for the next exposition and more to come. Yeah, have a lovely day ahead. God bless.
So subscribe, like and share. Welcome to the St. Andrew's Praise Team. Today is Sunday, 3rd of March. So I was hoping Maina will be here, but I think he's still in Cape Town. Yes. Then also we are still receiving new topics. We saw this week and posted a number of topics that I had received from different guys. We've seen people like Malkia still looking for the one, asking who the one is. Then I've seen others like dealing with mental issues as a Christian, among other topics. So if you find a topic you want us to discuss, we are open and ready to receive the topics. So I'll go straight to introducing. So this week we saw something interesting. Those of you are in social media, you might have heard from someone. Those of you who are not on social media for the past 2 weeks. What I'm going to say next. I believe I can fly. So, okay, on a more serious note, this is still related to Christianity. So you know you're a Christian group, eh? So this week, there's something interesting. Maybe it came even from the other week. So someone was resurrected in South Africa. Huh? So, okay, so there are different narratives. The people are saying it is fake. The others were saying it is true. But upon us Christians, it is not upon us to judge. It's just to test the spirit. Because if we follow the crowd, who are we? We are not different, right? So this week's topic is along that line. We are talking about stewardship. So stewardship, others when they hear stewardship wanafikiri leo pastor anataka sadaka. Ukisikia let's be a steward, nasikia woto and Hubu is next. Like that is the whole topic. So I want us to change the narrative. What should you know about stewardship? As a Christian, when you hear stewardship, is it sadaka on a ngoja or something? So like in that case, people are saying it's not true. I actually, like from what I know, this girl was brought in the house. Coffee nikafunguliwa, akafanyia hivi, afanya and after that akakula chakula. And he had a phone in the pocket. So after that I saw something on Facebook. He was selling selfies of Abraham and Moses with him. I don't know.
Just selling selfies.
Yeah, so he was selling, he was actually selling in runs.
The same guy. Did the same thing with a wheelchair.
Okay.
The boss said the boss is a carpenter, so he's working in a carpentry kind of farm. So the boss was saying the guy also posed as to be a lame guy, a wheelchair, something.
Oh, the same guy.
Same guy.
Okay. Yeah. So even here I was in Uganda. I had done my attachment there.
You
and
were
there's
selected?
And also among prophets. You've had Prophet Bushiri, you've had Angel. Yeah, so I was also among them. And I have seen some miracles that happen, like miracle money. Of course, at that moment you're like, wow. But now when things you start coming, if something new, if let's say this guy is in town, put down those boxes. If then to Embu, it's a new thing to them. So atakuwa, aleta pesa nikudozie, it's a new thing. But in Nairobi you already know. So maybe to me, it was a new thing to me. So will we be our brother's keeper? Because your work is test the spirit, not to judge. So I wouldn't judge at the moment or do anything, but just test the spirit. See, you have the Holy Spirit inside you. So now we'll talk about stewardship. Maybe some of you have a lot of power over others. How are you using it? Because a steward is to manage something on someone's behalf. I'll leave it at that. So if you are in power, what will you do? You want to change the narrative. So this week's expositor, Laureen, will take us through stewardship. I hope I've done an ample way of introduction.
Hi. So doing stewardship today. I'm only facilitating. Most of the talking will be done by you guys. So as we begin, although I'm Mwachenye, so the question was, what do you think what is stewardship to you? Regardless of what Dan has said, what is stewardship to you? What can you define stewardship by?
It's just my understanding of it. Also, what I understand about it by giving an example. Like stewardship to me is like the way we have our lives. Like God created us. In fact, nothing we own is our own. These bodies are His, these lives are His. But then He gives us, and then He gives us the authority to govern them. Yeah, so it's like we are taking care of it for Him and putting it to good use for His sake.
Stewardship is like being a shepherd. It's the management of the sheep. How do you look after them? How do you guide them? You know, I think the best analogy is a shepherd and his sheep. A good shepherd is one that makes sure that every single sheep is accounted for, you know, and shelters them from the wolves, the enemy, so to speak.
I believe when you're stewarding something, first of all, that thing might not really be under you, like you're not the source of that thing. Somebody else is the source of that, but they've really like put their confidence and all their faith and all that in you, that you can actually, you are the right person to actually maybe nurture or give it some kind of protection or like take good care of that thing. So I believe stewardship comes from the aspect of you taking care of something, knowing that somebody tags a very important value to that thing. So when you're handling that thing, it shouldn't be from a point of ni yangu, so I can do whatever I want with it. It should be from a point of kuna mtu and I expect that I have the ability to actually bring the best out of this thing. So I believe that's, for me, that would be stewardship from my side.
Anyone else with their definition of stewardship?
I think stewardship to me is, I think what a lot of people have said it's about how you take care of something when you know it's been given to you, not in terms of ownership, but in terms of like just responsibility. So in that sense, you understand the impact of that thing. So I put it, you're able to really make prudent decisions in terms of future impacts of how you take care of that. For example, like if you are given like let's say an association or like a commission in the government, and you are the CEO, like you know if this commission fails, then there will be this kind of impacts in the future of Kenya. If this commission passes, then this is the kind of trend that it will create. So it's in that sense that's stewardship. But you're not like the owner of that thing.
Nice. Anyone else?
Okay, in the New Testament, and thank you everyone for projecting your voices. In the New Testament, the word stewardship comes from a Greek word, oikonomos, meaning the manager of a household. So already that explains to us. So we can also get it from a parable. I think Amy can tell us the parable. Yes, that was explained in the Bible, what a steward is.
Okay. I'm not too sure how it used to go with the parable, but I know there was an employer who had 3 employees. Then he gave each coin. So I think the first one was given 5,000, the second one 2,000, the other one 1,000. Then he told them, take care of this money, and then in 1 year's time I shall come and tell you what have you gotten from this money. So the 5,000 and the employers who were given 5,000 and 2,000, they invested in the money and they got double what they had. But the one who was given 1,000 went and buried the 1,000 in the soil, so he did not invest in it. Then when 1 year passed and the employer came back, he asked them, the 3 of the employers, what have you gained from the money that I gave you? So the first employer came back with 10,000, the second one came with double of the 2,000, so 4,000, and then the last one came back with only 1,000 he was given. So the employer was angry and he asked him, why didn't you invest in it? Why didn't you get more from it? So the employer decided that because you did not take good care of it, he took it from him and gave the one with more, the one with 10,000. So yeah, whatever you're given, to look and supervise over it, to take good care of it, and even make it better. Not just stay with it and not better it at all. So yeah, thank you everyone for participating in that. We're going to look at stewardship in 4 ways. We have this verse, where we're told in Psalms 24, verse 1, the earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all the creation that God has given, and all the creation that God has given Him. Everything belongs to the Lord. And we're going to look at 4 ways we're going to divide stewardship in 4 ways. The first one, the principle of ownership. As stewards, we have heard from the various definitions that being a steward is not how you're not the owner, you're just given to be in charge of. So on the part of ownership, I want us to think of, in that context, that God is the whole sole owner of everything that we have. I want you to think of ways you can place stewardship and the principle of ownership. Tunaelewana guys? Since umeelewa.
Wow.
I just said that I had you, that's all. But anyway, so looking at God as the owner basically is acknowledging the fact that He owns everything that you have in your life. So I think it happens. I think when you are let's say growing and you're getting to amass certain things, like you get to have a comb, and then you get to have a phone, maybe you get to have a toothbrush, later on you get to have like a radio, I don't know, all those small things, and then later you get to have a TV or something. Like the collectively all those things, normally what happens to us as people is that we think, oh, we are owners of these things. Once they get lost, we are the ones who are going to get the most pain, or we put a sense of ownership on them such that we are so scared of losing them. You don't lose your phone at all. You don't want to get mad. So once you get to realize that God is the owner, this perspective changes, and you realize that He is actually the one who provided the money for that thing. He's the one who provided the job. He's the one who provided the opportunity. And in this sense, it sort of gives you a sense of peace in terms of not only ownership, but even losing those things. Like, you get to be like, if I lose them, as it was angry anyway, so, not that it doesn't matter, but like, as it was angry. So, insurance and everything. But basically, that is the kind of way in which treating things like ownership, even in life, like, we want to say, hey, I gave my mother life, so I'm so afraid. I know we kind of have that kind of attitude, but when you realize all life is given by God, then it just helps us process having things and losing things. Process having things and losing things in a different way, which is more godly.
Nice. Anyone wants to add on to that?
This is based on what something people have said about everything belongs to God, and everything in our lives, like what it said, our friends, our family, everything we own. So, as stewards, it's our responsibility, because, well, if you own something and then it gets lost, or something happens to you, you feel bad. So I'm putting myself in my shoes. It's like, if everything that belongs to God is misused, or it perishes, or it gets lost, like in the kingdom, He definitely is, I don't say he's hurt, he's hurt. Not believed, but he doesn't, it's not okay with him, because it's his will that everything that is within the kingdom should remain within the kingdom. So, as stewards, it's our responsibility to ensure that the things in our lives and the people in our lives do not perish or do not get lost. In the sense that it's your responsibility to ensure that the person next to you does not disappear from the kingdom. It's your responsibility to ensure that you put everything you can in place to make the kingdom comfortable enough for your brother and your sister. Yeah, so they don't like lose their faith, they don't fall and stuff like that.
She has gone to the next point, which was principle of responsibility as stewards. I want us to think about it. We are already established that everything we have belongs to God, right? So we are managers. Therefore, managers are given responsibilities. Owners have rights. I have the right to this land. But being a steward, you have responsibilities. Now, I want us to think of ways, since we have established everything that we have, our education, our life, our friends, they all belong to God. They've been entrusted to us by God. In what ways, as Christians, as stewards, as good stewards, are we to show responsibility over these things? Malkia has said it very well. Anyone else with something to contribute to it?
First of all, you have to show you're up to task. There's no way you'll give me a catheter. I'm going to give me a stethoscope. Okay, maybe I can try. I've watched The Good Doctor, I've watched something. But I wouldn't be a model, or rather emulate it in a way maybe Ron could, Amy, send to... Let us first, before you're given, there's something I've seen someone in you. By the time I chose her to do stewardship, I knew there was something she would bring out there. So, by the time I knew I was asking Ron to share about time, there was something I saw. You get? So by the time you've been given something to do, there's something someone has seen. So why not carry it out with enthusiasm? Just carry it out in such a way. Then we were sharing about prayer partners. Now you've been told you make people smile. Why not emulate it more? Why not shine it a bit more? So according to me, most of the time, if your dad tells you, take something somewhere, he saw something in you that maybe overshadowed someone else that would have asked. So don't say that kazi yako ni kutuma tu. Take it upon yourself like, mimi, let me go. If there's something maybe you wouldn't have done at that time, why not do it? Do it with joy. Same goes to many other things. Mom can ask you, go and get cake for us. Why didn't she ask Linda? Ask yourself that. Usikue ati jumi niko town, kazi yangu tu ni. Don't have that nagging spirit. Okay? So yes, that is my take.
Okay. Before Amy speaks, I want to add the parable of the bags of gold, of talent, gold talent. It says, verse 15 says, each according to his ability. The master gave the servants or the stewards, each according to their ability. Since you are given a responsibility, God thinks, you have to. That's very good done. Hey, Amy. Hi.
Hi.
So for me, when I think about stewardship, I think about taking care of what God has given you. So I usually go back to Genesis, and I think of when God made Adam and Eve. The first thing, amongst the first things he told them was, whatever I have given you in this garden, take good care of it. For the animals also, take good care of them. So for me, stewardship for me means taking care of the environment and the animals and the people around you. So even as a Christian, sometimes we serve in church and that's it, around your friends, but we don't think about the environment as much and even the animals as much. So for me, stewardship is taking care of the environment. So volunteering in all these environmental things, cleaning up the environment, educating people about what to do. So even as you educate them, you remember by then when God made us, he told us to take good care of this environment, volunteer in animal shelters, and all those things. So for me, stewardship is take good care of the environment and the animals around you. Still on responsibility, anyone else? Linda?
So basically, a stewardship in relation to responsibility means that we use what God has given us to impact on people's lives. Well, be it talent or gift. For instance, if you can sing, use it in a way that will impact on people's lives.
So the next principle of stewardship is accountability. When the master came back to the servants and asked them to give what he had done, sindio, akauliza, wewe nilikupatia this amount of money, what have you got from it? We see an example of accountability. Stewardship also requires accountability. In what ways, as Christians, as praise team, in what ways are we accountable for the things we've been governed, given dominion over? Yeah, if I can say that. Accountability. If I can start my accountability. Since we have seen that God gave us this life, He gave us our careers, our jobs, and our something. What I think is that hiyo siku nitapata Yesu, He will ask me, Laureen, I gave you this. Did you do according to how nilikuachia? You know, the master came and said, well done, good and faithful servant. You will share in the happiness of the master. Now I'm thinking, God will ask me, nilikupatia this friend, how did you impact their lives? You know, He'll ask me, wachi last week, alichukua hiyo kanywele ya Jojo, and akasema from here to here is our time on earth, then the rest is eternity. Why not be accountable of this little time we've been given and be the best at that whatever, be the best singer, be the best doctor, be the best urban planner, be the best everything. Yeah, so we've been given that, we are accountable yani, and even in our places of work. And yeah, no, mfikirie sasa how they think you guys.
I think I'll add to what you said. You know, most of the times we hear people complaining about small things, and then the way we have tons of memes going around. And I was thinking about, like 2 years ago, my classmates. So when we have a really bad cut, yani tumetoka cut, kuna kitu mlikuwa mnajua, na ni nyinyi wote, like it's all of you. People go drink, they drink, kuna mtu alianguka and then he just got scraped, like the next day he was just, you know, I don't even think he could write. And then I thought about it, like, you know, the way people hear Juja, when you hear Juja you see alcohol, you see weed, like that is what is there. But how often do we actually pray for those friends? You know, we just take it casually and we're like, umse anakuanga hivyo, umse avutanga weed, because it's actually, it's something we get used to, so we don't really tend to get to the accountable side of it. How many uncles do we have whom we know that they are just drunks? Yani mnendanga tu wacha mnajua tu mtu atakuwa tu amelewa, like it's a constant. But most of the time we just complain about it, we just talk about it, but we don't pray about it. And I think for different seasons in our lives, like at school, at work, wherever it is we are, who knows, 10 years from now, these might not be the same crew we'll be hanging out with. Like with every season in our life, I think we should be accountable for our friends and actually pray for them intentionally, not just letting it go by.
I think what I have to say was something in line with what Esther said, and that is, I believe, one important aspect of accountability is community. Like, for example, a team like this, let's say we have targets we want to achieve musically. This is just one specific example. And then, as a singer, as you're discussing with your friends, you tell them, you know, I want to sing like this guy. So that's like a goal you put for yourself. What will follow is practice and meaning. So that friend of yours should keep you accountable and keep asking you, how far have you come in practice? So that if you hadn't started, or if you are just feeling too procrastination is happening, it awakes you to start doing it. And that's just as far as music is concerned, but also in life, prayer partners is one of the ways you can keep each other accountable, which I feel is important. Although it's uncomfortable, I mean, those are the hard questions you ask someone, like, have you started to do this? Have you actually started?
I'd say, I want to use her example. For an accountant, I've never been an accountant, but I believe you bring all what you had to somebody. This is the process that these are the figures, and they should be on point. Otherwise, you might if there are errors utaambiwa hapo kufanya kazi nzuri. So I feel like for us being accountable to what God has given us, we should put in mind that the process, like every detail, that like you should be so concerned about a detail that is amounting to you being like, if you've been given a responsibility to like actually taking care of the environment, like we should actually see by the way this was the process. Like we should be so keen that everything that's part of the process counts, so that when you're going before the master to tell him how, like nilikuwa hii ndio ulinipatia na this is what I did, like this was the process. God, you gave me so and so, such and such a family, this is what I actually did. So I feel like when it comes to the accountability, we should keep in mind that the process, these things that we think don't count actually count. You should know that by the mazeni ilifanya hivi, by the kumbe hivi ndio ilisaidia mtu, like you know that God even ndio nilifanya, ndio when you're bringing it before the master city, nuna ile Mount Everest ni vile, like at least you can actually, you have something to tell God, like you have something, like tuseme kama you had no proof for something, like it's like you went through school but you don't have a certificate, like you don't have something to show, like but this certificate talks of a number of things that happened, like kulikuwa na first year, this is what happened, kulikuwa na second year, this is what happened, this was third year, this was fourth year, and now I have a certificate, so I'm accountable because of this certificate. This, like I feel like we should know that each and every part of the process matters, so that the part of the process makes us accountable.
I think I'd give an example. I won't explain what my understanding of accountability is, but I'll give an example of a true story that happened last week. So I have a friend who works in a bank. We talked about accountants and all. So they work in a bank, and during one of these days, like the previous week, the sister of that friend of mine, okay, by extension they're all my friends, but the sister of that friend, so she got distracted, and she works in a bank. Like her sister came into the bank, and then she got distracted. And in the process, she was handing out money to a client, to a customer, so at the counter. Now she fell short of 4K, see? Because, like she was excited, they are so close. Yeye na sister yake, they're really close. So she fell short of 4K. Now, the client went, I don't know whether he counted the money or didn't count the money, but went with 4K extra. And then this lady realizes that 4K, like ako short of 4K because alikuwa distracted. Now she had to like transact money from her account and just put in like the money there before like maybe the manager realizes it. Now quite a very big case and all. And then now there's this, I just want you to have a food for that. Like, did accountability, where was accountability, or like where was accountability felt most, or where was it at play in this situation? Was this lady accountable? Was the client accountable? The client was given an extra 4K. Was he accountable? Was the lady accountable? I know that's food for that.
Maybe I can add something very similar to what he's saying. To me, when I look at stewardship, I look at the life of Joseph. My question is, why was Joseph such a successful manager in Potiphar's house and in the Pharaoh's house? And three things struck me. His ability to be accountable, being transparent, and having integrity. And those are the three key things you need to have as a steward. And that was his success point. You could see that because of how clear he was about his relationship with God, there's no way he was going to falter. He was going to now pilfer from the house of Potiphar or from the Pharaoh. And even in the times of drought, he was able to foresee and manage the stores. I think that was the most difficult task he ever had in his life, because if you go to Egypt now, the silos where the wheat was actually kept still exist. And how they describe those silos, it's amazing that he was able to keep the grain for 7 years so that it could feed people for 7 years thereafter. And it's something that we should look at as stewards. Those 3 things are very key.
Finally, we look at stewardship along the principle of reward. When the master came back and he gave dominion, the servant who went out of his way to get more than what had been allocated, he was told that he would govern over 10 cities. Then we mgeni over 5 cities. Then huyu mwenye alirudisha tu kenye alipewa akaambiwa aende. He was rebuked for not being a good steward. The same way, God will reward us for being good stewards and being whatever he has entrusted to us, tuifanye vizuri, kazi nzuri, si ndio? There is great reward, and it says you will come and share your master's advice. What a wonderful thing it is. Sawa sawa. So that was our topic on stewardship. Every day make it your job to take an audit of your day and think of how have I been a good steward? Have I come to church? Have I served vizuri? In class, have I been a good steward? In whatever you are doing, have I been a good steward? Yeah, hand it over to Dana.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very good exposition, the topic exposition. So you guys enjoyed it? Yes. Let's give a hand to Laureen. Yes. For those who didn't see, there was a handshake. Okay. So now I'll tell you to like, comment, share, so that even others can enjoy what you're partaking in. So I'll request Esther to pray for us as we close. Yes.
Let's pray. God, we come before you this morning, give you glory, give you thanks, give you adoration, oh God. We come before you as a team, thanking you because of who you are, what you've done in our lives, oh God. Even this morning, Lord, we want to ask that you forgive us for any iniquities and transgressions that we may have committed against you. And we ask that you may forgive us, Lord. As we go forth and serve for the next service, Lord, we ask that you may go before us, go with us. And at the end of the day, Lord, let it be for the glory and honor of your name. Even afterwards, whatever it is we're going to do this week, we want to ask that, Lord, in whatever way that you want us to be stewards, Lord, that your Holy Spirit may guide us in the steps that we're supposed to walk in order to achieve that for the glory and honor of your name. And for the rest of the day, may you guide us, protect us, and keep us. This we pray, believe, and trust in Jesus' name. Amen.